Hello, Stitchy friends. It's lovely to see you all. I'm Sally, also known as Flossie Sews and Grows, and this is Flosstube number 14. So it's been a while, so thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining me. If you're a returning viewer, if you're a subscriber, or actually if you're new and you've just come across me for the first time, welcome. It's lovely to see you. Yeah, so it's been, I think, almost a month since I last spoke to you. Life has just been rather hectic with working, with getting to the allotment and dealing with all of the weeds. There have been many. And we also went to a wedding the week before last. So I actually, in May, I've had 2 days where I've not stitched. So 2 non-stitchy days, which has been quite incredible. I've only had one in March and one in January so far, and then 2 in 1 month. But ho hum, that's how life gets. Sometimes things get busy. So I've therefore got quite a lot to show you, quite a lot to update you with. So yes, there's lots. So I've actually had 2 starts and finishes that I can't show you because they are going to be gifts. One for somebody in the next couple of days, I think, and one that I'd stitched for somebody, then changed my mind, and so it's there in the background for an exchange or a gift. So unfortunately I can't show you those, but once they've been gifted I will, probably on Instagram. So what have I been up to? I'm going to turn to my trusty ironing board that's next to me here. So I do have, I'm just going to grab my board because I've forgotten, in a month I've forgotten what I need all the tools that I need for showing you. So my first finish is this one, and this is Midnight Jack, which is from the 2016 autumn issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, and it's by Delaney Woods Treasures. So this is one I started last September for Halloween, didn't get finished. It's on a 40 count mystery fabric with the called for threads. There's not many. Oh, I think perhaps the orange actually wasn't called for, and I've substituted that. But really cute little stitch. I just decided I needed to get some finishes done, so that was one that was almost finished and wasn't really too difficult to finish. So my second finish is Spring from the Seasons of a Heart series by Jeannie McGow at the Blue Flower. This is stitched on a 40 count mystery fabric. Don't know what it is, from my magic stash bag that you'll all be so familiar to know I stitch a lot from it. And I pretty much used the called for threads for all of this. I think I made a change with the little snowdrops or little cream flowers. I think that called for ecru, and it was just a bit too light with the fabric I was using. So I think I substituted that with 739. And I made these little bunnies or hares. I think they're probably hares actually, spring hares. And I did have to substitute, I think, the colour of them as well because it didn't quite work. But I just loved that. Absolutely loved it. And I'm stitching that as part of the hashtag seasonal sale, which was started by Lynn, the Lancashire Stitcher, and we start a new seasonal piece on the first day of each new season. So I started this in March for the start, March the 20th for the start of spring. So in June there'll be another, we'll obviously start with summer, and I will start the summer chart from Seasons of the Heart. So by the end of the year I'll have all 4 stitched. What's next? Oh, so actually, oh yes, someone to new starts. I did have new starts. I've had 2 new starts. So my first one, let me show you this one first because I've actually got it on to show you the picture on the laptop, and it may flip off and then I won't be able to show you again. So my first new start was this one. So this is Peacock Manor, and this is by, make sure I get this correct because I do I do find this one a little bit of a tongue twister, so let me just read it off the laptop to make sure I get it correct. So it's Laurie Pengelly who has designed this beautiful chart called Peacock Manor, and she is from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery, and actually she's a Canadian designer, so I think she hit market by storm this year with some gorgeous patterns. And you know, I've already started one, I think I showed you in my last Flosstube, so I'll show you my progress on that. But that so Peacock Manor, I started that on the 13th of May alongside Laura B Flosstube, an American Flosstuber who was doing it as part of her graduation New Start, and I just thought I'm going to join in. And the pattern is actually out of Just Cross Stitch magazine from June 2023. And as soon as I saw it, I think I'd seen it. I think it might have been Laura who introduced me to it on Flosstube, and I just had to go straight away and buy the PDF of the magazine, just because it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful chart. So I haven't managed to get a huge amount done, but here we go. This is the house that I've started. And I was really lucky that I had the called for, certainly the red and the pink on that, and then I'm just working my way through as I go, just seeing what threads I've got, and I'll try and use the called for if I can, but if I need substitutes, I'll just substitute those in. I've got no plans to buy anything new at the moment, so yes, you'll see why because of the haul later. So my second new start was Teresa Kogert, Remember Me, and this was one of my market purchases that I bought, and I'm stitching this in memory of both my dad, who I lost in the year 2000 when I was just 25, and also my mother-in-law, who we lost in 2020, not of COVID but during COVID, so that was a very difficult time for my partner and his family. So this is to remember both of them. And my mother-in-law in particularly loved flowers and loved gardening, so I think she would have really adored all the beautiful flowers that are on that. So I'm stitching this with the called for threads, which are a mix of overdyes and DMC. So this is my progress so far. So as you can see, I am a middle starter. So I've started with, it was either the house or the fence, and I thought both of them are really quite stitch heavy. So the fence, and unfortunately I did quite a lot, and this is a 40 count, it's vintage cream linen, it's a Zweigart one, and I'd done quite a lot on the fence. I was working my way across in rows, and I got to a row lower down and there was a thread out, and there'd been a thread that had just disappeared higher up, so lower down it just wasn't working. So I really had to fudge that. I had to pull it all out, and I think I'd spent an afternoon stitching, and everything that I'd stitched that afternoon I had to pull out. So at the end of the day I hadn't done any stitching because it had all come out. Oh, I was just, I would really not a happy girl. So I pulled it all out and I put it to one side, and then I had to come back and kind of just, there's a stitch, I think a stitch or two there that are just not quite how they should be, because that thread's kind of did something strange, disappeared. But it's all that fence is now done. That was quite a, well, it's nearly just a little bit done at the end, but that was really quite stitch heavy, and I think the house is going to be as well. So I think as you can see, there's quite a lot of stitches in those, and then I can get, I'm really looking forward to getting around to some of the flowers on the border. So I have seen other people stitch this who have started, sorry for the glare there, who've started in the corner and started on those flowers, and part of me thought, oh, I should have done that. But then I think that the bits like the house and the fence that are a little bit monotonous, just get that out of the way, and yeah, it'll be out of the way. So next, you've all seen this a few times. So this is Honey of a Tiny Town, and I've been doing I've been stitching this with Natalie of Home Sweet Home Handmade. She started a sal with her friend, and it's hashtag a honey of a tiny town sal. So I started it when they did, and I am very, very, very close to a finish. So here we go. Let's try and get that crease out. So I've stitched this on 36, either 36 or 40 count. I think it is 36 count country vintage mocha, and it is lovely. It's absolutely beautiful. So there's a little thread, there's a little yellow thread there right in the middle there to remind me I need to sew the beak of the bird so I don't forget. And I've got a little bit of work to do on this sunflower here, and the little bees that are flying overhead, I need to add those in, and the buttons, and it'll be done. So I'm hoping for a finish on this in the next couple of days. I've got this far, and then I put it down, and I've been doing other things, and I'm thinking, no, I just need to put a bit more work in to do those fiddly, it's the fiddly bits like the little bees, because they're only a couple of stitches and a daisy chain stitch, so they're, it's not difficult, but sometimes those little fiddly bits are the things that you keep putting off, don't you? So oh, and I've just realised I need to put some little stitches in the house, the eaves of the house there as well, so I mustn't forget those. So that one is very close to a finish. So I think my plans for May had been to get 5 things finished and start 5 things, and I think just because I've been so busy, it's kind of gone a little bit out of the window. So I'm really pleased. I've had 2 finishes, but I think I will be able, I'll be able to finish Tiny Town. I'll be able to finish that easily in an evening. So that will be finished. So that'll be 3 finishes. And then the other one that I'm hoping I can finish is Blackbird by Blackbird Designs. I'm stitching this with you'll have to excuse the hanging threads on this. I'm stitching this on a mystery 32 count fabric from my magic stash bag, and I'm stitching it with the called for thread, which is espresso bean, and as you can see, I'm quite a good way through this one as well. So I think this is quite a good stitch to do in the evening because it's on 32 count when my eyes are tired. So I think actually this is one that I could get finished as well for May. And that is part of the Magical Mystery series from Blackbird. So I am hoping at some point to have stitched all of the Magical Mystery Tour series charts from Blackbird and have a Beatles little wall. I've got a spot under the stairs that I think all the Beatles charts from Blackbird will go really nicely there. So the other one that I have been stitching from the Magical Mystery series tour is Eleanor Rigby, and I've been stitching this along at the same time as my friend Steph, who is Stephanie Wingett on Instagram, and Steph has done an awesome autumn colour version of this, and it just looks absolutely stunning. And I have done it with the called for over dried threads, which are beautiful colours, and this is how far I have got so far. So again, I've just started. I think the last time you saw this I hadn't done any, or I'd done a little bit of this bottom bit, but I've done that, and I think added in flower over here, and I think started that border as well. So there's not a huge amount left to do on that one. If I put my mind to it, I could probably get a finish, but do you know what, I'm kind of a little bit in the mode of, if I don't get 5 finishes at the end of May, that's okay, because actually I haven't had 5 starts, and I'm not necessarily going to start on anything straight away. I want to get a few more under my belt. So next, I've only put a few stitches in this, but another Blackbird, and this is Mighty Oak, and it's from the Winds of Autumn book, and I am stitching this. I'm hosting a sal along with my lovely friend who is Kate, and she is at Crafty Kate on Instagram, and she also is Fabrics by Crafty Kate, so she dyes fabrics, and I'm love her fabrics. And I have got some to show you later. So we're hosting this together. This is hashtag Mighty Acorn Sal, and this is on a 40 count unknown fabric. And I think I've actually only perhaps stitched on this once or maybe twice since I last spoke to you. So not a huge amount of progress, but nevertheless, there have been some stitches go in, hence to show it to you. And it's an autumn one, so I think at the moment it doesn't seem pressing to get it done. So I think that will appear perhaps, you know, in a couple of months. I'll want to get a little bit more done on that so that I can get it done for the autumn. So my favourite designer of the moment, we've already spoken today already. So this next one is Summer Garden at Cranberry Manor, and it's designed by Laurie Pengelly from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitching. So this again, 40 count mystery fabric. The bag will run out soon. I think there was one of the little presents that I did last week. I needed a certain size piece of fabric for, and I went in the 40 count bag. And as you know, it was for the new start. It was for this, and I think actually I forgot to tell you so Peacock Manor, that's actually stitched on 40 count vintage cream, and it is the bottom bit of the fabric that I'd bought for Teresa Koga, Remember Me. And I didn't actually have a piece of fabric that size in my 40 count magic stash bag that would work for that. So I was a little bit, it's starting to dwindle, but I have had some fantastic fabrics out of it, so I'm not going to complain at all. So this is the progress I've made with Summer at Cranberry House. It's beautiful. The over-dyed fabrics on that I am using predominantly. I think I'm using called for. I think I ordered all the fancy flosses for this. So it's so cute. I absolutely adore it. Absolutely adore it. And really, really enjoying stitching on that one. Still a bit to go. Yeah, I've still got all the border on that to do, and the garden and the kind of a lot of the animals. So I don't think that will be. I might put that on my kind of trying to finish in June aim, perhaps, but we'll see. Then, oh, finally, and I keep this in my wonderful Eat Stitch Repeat project bag that I won from Nicola at Bumble Stitches. Absolutely love it. And that is, it's my Barbara Anna. And oh, let me just see, I've got the little, so this is 4 Seasons from Barbara Anna. This was kindly gifted to me by my friend Nikki in Canada. She sent it over for me. And here we go. Here's my progress so far. So Nikki had sent me her, so she'd done this and sent me her chart and her leftover threads. And some of the threads I thought, actually I'm going to substitute. So I think the skirt, I've substituted it with a Cottage Garden threads. Actually, I haven't. I think the C is going to be the Cottage Garden thread. So the skirt, which is the sky, I've substituted with Morning Glory from Gentle Arts, and then the lower bit of the skirt, which will be the C, will be Lavelle from Cottage Garden threads. So I'm using the threads that came in the kit where I can, and where it's a small bit, but where I'm thinking, you know, there's some quite big bits of blue, some colours that I'm thinking, oh, there might not quite be enough thread, so I'm just going to substitute here and there where it takes my fancy, really, just to add to it. And then I think there were a couple of colours, for example, the lighthouse, I think on the on the picture you can see the lighthouse. It's the thread's quite red on that picture, but actually the thread that came with the kit is quite orangey. So things like that, I've thought, you know what, I'm going to substitute it for a colour that I prefer and be a little bit more creative. I do use the called for threads a lot, and I think there are times where I want to be a little bit more adventurous. There's certainly some fabulous stitches out there. I think I have to mention Lainey Main on Instagram. She does some wonderful colour conversions, and a couple of things I know I've commented to her and just said, this is just awesome and I just love what you've done, and I want to, you know, that really inspires me to think about changing things occasionally, and making them different and making them my own. You know, we design, you know, none of the designers who design these charts, you know, they're creative people, and I think one of the things about being creative is that you do change things and you do make it your own. I always thought that I wasn't very creative, and then I read something somewhere where it said, you know, you're probably more creative than you think. It said, how, you know, do you ever read a recipe and go and make something and change from the recipe, put different things in, different quantities, and change it and make it your own? And I said, yes, I do. And the response was, well, that's your creative side. That's where you're being creative. So I think, you know, do what we want, do what we love, and I think the designers will welcome that with open arms, that we're being creative and putting our own twists on their patterns. So I think that's fantastic. So I have stitched a lot, and I think I've zoomed through that, but I'm very conscious that actually I have to go to work in half an hour. So it's only across the corridor. So this is the sewing room stroke study, and across the corridor is another bedroom that is now has my desk in it and is my office space. So I only have to go across the corridor, but I do need to make myself a cup of coffee to take with me, and I do need to be there at 11 o'clock on the dot. So I am rushing a little bit, but I think I wanted to get this done more than anything. I think, and actually that's one thing I must say, I've had some lovely messages from people who watch my Flosstube and people who follow me on Instagram as well, just checking in with me and saying, are you okay? You're very quiet. And because I've really not been on Instagram much either, and yeah, I have been quiet, just and I'm fine. And everyone, are you okay? Is anything wrong? No, nothing's wrong. Absolutely fine. And just, yeah, life has got busy. So the allotment has really kind of taken on. Obviously, the weather has improved. In February and March, when we start to think about getting it ready and starting to go and kind of get the beds ready so that we can plant, it didn't really happen. The weather was cold, we had a lot of wet weather, and also I wasn't feeling kind of 100% at the time, and a few kind of issues, as you know, when you for slightly older, well, not older ladies, but I thought it started raining then. You know, as you get kind of towards your 50s, things kind of change. So I went to see the doctor and did some blood test, and she came back and said, oh, you're anemic, and put me on iron tablets. And oh my goodness, I cannot believe the change. And she'd said to me, you know, are you having headaches? Are you breathless? And I was like, yeah, I just thought I was kind of I'd not been going to the gym because I'd had no energy, and so I'm getting more unfit. And she said, well, no, you know, the iron carries your oxygen round, and all, I don't know the medical stuff, but so taking these iron tablets has just completely changed my energy levels. Just feel so much better. And so kind of February, March, I just didn't want to do anything. I was just happy to come and stitch, and I didn't have energy to do anything else. So I didn't sow any seeds, I didn't get down to the allotment and do any digging or preparing. And suddenly, you know, my energy levels have increased. I feel so much better, and the weather has improved. The weather's got so much better than it was. You know, this week it's been really warm, and I start work at 11, I work 4 hours, I work 11 till 3, so this yesterday and all of last week I was going down to the allotment at 8:30, and I was there, took, you know, a couple of hours to get things done, get some of my seeds that I'd sown in, and yeah, so although I've had time for stitching in the evening, coming on and talking to you as my time's just been eaten away, and kind of by the time we've had tea and, you know, getting my daughter sorted for school the next day, I don't want to. I'm too tired then. I don't want to do anything else other than sit in front of the TV and stitch. So yeah, I'm still getting stitching time in, but it has been difficult to find time to come and talk to you. But that hasn't stopped me from shopping. Hasn't stopped me from shopping at all. So there is a little pile of things here to show you. And actually, I mean, a couple of things. I went to a friend's for drinks a couple of weeks ago, and she's quite crafty. My friend Nick is quite crafty. She does things. She started cross stitching again, and she does things like bothy threads, and she stitches on Ada. So we're kind of slightly different types of what we like and what we do, but she's kind of got the bug again and is stitching. But her son's girlfriend is living with him at the moment, Georgia, and she's an actual bundle of energy. She's lovely, Georgia. And Nick had said, oh, I think you'd really like cross stitching. So she'd bought her a little kit, and then we went over for drinks, and Georgia arrived, and I gave her some tips and looked at what she'd been doing, and said, oh, this, you could try this, you could try that. And you know, her back was quite messy, and she was like, oh, I was like, right, okay, this is what I would suggest you do. And anyway, by the end of the evening, a trip to Hobbycraft the next day had been planned. So I decided to tag along. Wasn't sure if there was anything stitchy wise that I would be wanting to buy, but I did want perhaps some ideas for finishing things. Got a big pile of things here that need finishing. So I bought this little thing. Now this was so I think most of what I bought was actually in the sale. So this was perhaps £2 maybe. So just a little board that hangs, and I'll just do something, put something on there. I bought this. Again, I think this was £1 or less than £2. So I don't quite know what I'm going to do with that. Whether Nick actually bought one as well, and I think she tried to actually just embroider something on hers, but she found it was quite stiff and didn't work as well as she'd hoped. So I just might do something maybe something that's round, and just perhaps sew it on or glue it on. I bought one of these, a kind of parcel label. Again, not sure what I'll do with it, but I'm sure something will come along. Oh yes, I know what I wanted to do with this. In a very old issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, there is something, I think, that says Santa's Workshop, and you do it as it's a kind of key fob, and so I thought it'd be great to do that on there, and then get a big old antique type key to pop on the end there. So that was the idea for that one. And then actually I found these in Primark. So these were 80p originally, and they'd reduced them to 50p, and just a little hanger, and I just a little wooden thing, and I just thought, actually, again, that's something I could potentially just stick a little something seasonal that isn't a full year round. Just thought they might be, so I bought two. They're only 50p. Quite handy maybe to do something with, so we'll see on that. I bought some so I think I did buy threads for Cranberry Manor, so I bought some fancy floss for that, and of course they couldn't travel on their own, so I did buy a couple of Gentle Arts Old Purple paint. So I can't remember the name of the lady who had done it, but somebody had changed the colours on Lila Studio Spring Quaker. The Quakers around the side of it are brown, and she'd actually changed them to Old Purple paint, and I loved that. So I thought, well, I'll buy a couple of skeins and you try that. When I start it, I don't know. I don't know when my start will be for that. And then my lovely friend Anna, who I'm absolutely thrilled. Anna is my friend that I ski with, so I went on holiday with her, and thrilled that she has started cross stitching since I came on Flosstube, which is wonderful. But she has a lovely shop near her, so she lives over near Crewe, and she actually lives very close to Winchwood Hotel, which is where I think there's a Chatelaine retreat in July. So she lives quite close to there. But this lovely shop in Nantwich is called So I Did Nantwich. Now they are on Instagram and they are on Facebook, but I don't think she has a website. But Anna had bought these fabrics at Christmas or after Christmas. I think they'd been in the sale, and I went over. Absolutely beautiful. Look at those. Look at those. Those deer, aren't they gorgeous? Aren't they absolutely gorgeous? I just love it. So Anna had bought this fabric, and then I'd gone over and said, and actually the lady who owns the shop is her neighbour. So they live quite close to each other, so she can ask her as well if she can grab things. But she'd bought these and showed them to me. I said, "Oh, I've bought these. I love them." And I was like, "Oh!" And she said, "Would you like me to get you some?" And I was like, "Yes, please. I very much would like you to get me some." So she got these for me as a little present. So yeah, I just love that with the little fox and again, is it a bunny or is it a hare? I'm not sure, but just love. Are there any other animals on those? Oh no, it's just the foxes and the hares. But I love them. I love them. So thank you for those, Anna. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm not sure. I think these might be meters. There's quite a lot there, so I might do use them for some finishing, but also I probably will make myself a project bag in each of those as well, because they are just gorgeous. Absolutely love them. So talking about lovely friends, my lovely friend Charlie Feathers, she's had 2 floss drop sales now, and I bought some on her first sale. And Charlie is really very creative, but she's just done these beautiful floss drops. You know, that's it. Yeah, I bought that one because I was going to gift these. I was going to give them to somebody, and then I got them and I thought, no, I can't. I love them. So friend, they're absolutely gorgeous. So I know Charlie had a sale of more floss drops and also some beautiful kind of ring bling that I guess you can use on rings, or you could use as a scissor fob. And she'd put those on her coffee account on Saturday, and there's possibly some left, but not much. So if you're interested, pop over to Charlie's Instagram, and there is a link there for her coffee account. But I was absolutely really pleased to buy those off Charlie and support her little small business, and supporting another friend's small business. My lovely friend Kate, who I did catch up with actually the week before last. She came over here for tea and cake, and actually my daughter wasn't very well. She had an absolutely terrible cold, and she'd woken up after a bad night of just feeling rotten. So I let her stay at home, and Kate came over with her little girl Grace. Now, the first time I met Grace just burst into tears. I was gutted. I love little ones, and she just looked at me and went, "Wah!" She looked at Felicity, and she was just like, "Oh." And so there was a lovely little friendship formed there. So that was lovely to catch up with Kate, and I'm hoping that I'm going to catch up with her again very, very soon, because I think she has some more fabric for me. So this was the April fabric of the month, and this is just gorgeous. It's looking a little bit more green, I think. Maybe that's about right. A little bit more green maybe than it is in real life on there. But this is beautiful, and I have got 36 count linen. That is my fabric of choice. That bit's a little bit more pink, but it's lovely. It's lovely, and I think I will probably stitch Barbarana on this, and I'm not sure which one yet. I know Charlie from Charlie Feathers and I have been discussing stitching Garden Dreams, and it's a possibility that it might go on that one, or there is another one of Kate's that I did think it might also look quite nice on. So and also there's a Frida Kahlo one in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher that I also thought would look great on this fabric. So I've got a couple of things in mind for that. It's absolutely fabulous. And then, well, I couldn't resist this one. Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. And I bought this. I've had this for quite a few weeks actually. This is Stitcher's Retreat House. And I know that I think I bought the last one from Peakside at the time, but I know Amanda from Albert Stitcher has since managed to buy a hard copy in the UK, so I think probably Peakside have got more in. But I bought this. My friend Emily, who is ems_stitches_makes, put this, that she'd bought this, and we are both going to Stitch in London in October. And when I saw she had it, I was just like, oh, I love it, and I think we've both decided. Emily's already started. She just is a prolific starter, and a prolific enabler as well. Enables me with lots and lots of stuff. I think Emily's already started it. So actually, what we have thought we would do is stitch that and have some extra fabric at the bottom. And then when we get to Stitch in London, finish it for Stitch in London. But when we get there, actually stitch our names or our initials on the bottom. And Charlie Feathers is also coming to Stitch in London, so I think we're hoping that she's going to do it as well. So you can get hard copies still in the UK. I know that somebody has them, but you can now. So this wasn't a hard copy exclusive for market, but it has been released on the Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery website, so you can buy it as a PDF too, if you want it. So if anyone is coming to Stitch in London and would like to stitch that along with Emily, hopefully Charlie and I as well, and put your name or your initials at the bottom of mine, and I'll do the same for you, then that would be lovely if you'll join us. So I think once Charlie has it, we will start a stitch along for that to get it complete for Stitch in London in October. Even if you're not coming to Stitch in London in October and you'd like to do it, you can also please do join us. So a few other bits of haul. I was very lucky. I managed to get a few bits on Stash Unload that I've always had my eye on, or been kind of unicorn charts for me. The first one is with my needle and thread Winter Rose Manor, and it's a little bit of a bashed copy. I knew that when I bought it. The lady who I bought it from said, oh, there's just a few little tears, and I've mended them, but that's fine. It'll get well stitched well. The charts are all still very clear, it's still very usable, so that's not a problem. So that's one I've always wanted to stitch, so really pleased about that. Another one that the Teresa Koga Halloween booklets. Humble Bumble Stitcher was having a de-stash on Instagram, and I managed to grab this, and I'd seen this last autumn when Teresa first released it, and I loved that sampler. Sampler's just gorgeous, and I think actually I do like the other things that are in here, but I'm not sure which of them I will want to stitch. So but I definitely wanted to stitch the sampler, so I'm really pleased to have had that. Got that for a good price. So big old sampler, but yeah, but looking forward to doing that. And then this week I managed to get off. This was a Facebook de-stash group, and actually Kate knows that I love this pattern, and a lady had put it up and she tagged me, and I said yes please, and got it. So that is, and this one's brand new. She hadn't stitched it, so it's a Spring Chickens Pinky from Stacey Nash. That was a market release. As you all know, I love stitching chickens, so that is one for me to do. And then the other one, I just had, you have to have a look through what else, you know, one chart really shouldn't travel on its own, should it? So another one that she had on there was October House Fibre Arts, the Itch to Stitch. And that's just a lovely, cute little chart. And I just thought that would actually be great for my mum. You know, my mum's a stitcher too. I thought she would love that. So just for little presents or little, you know, I can adapt that quite well. So, oh, and then final bit. I won a chart from the lovely Michelle of Mama Loves You GB. I won Little Dove Designs Home for Christmas. And that's what that looks like. And it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And Michelle sent me a lovely little card, a little William Morris card with it. It's a congratulations little card. And really, I don't think I would have bought this chart actually, but when I've got it, I realised how much I like it, and it's quite poignant for me. Kind of has a bit of a meaning. So when I was at university, I worked for Next in the children's department, kind of part-time to earn a bit of money. And I can remember the run up to Christmas, university had finished, but I had to stay. I was at university in Birmingham, so about an hour and a half away from where I live, and I'd had to stay to work. And they kept one of the songs that they'd play in the store was Chris Rea, Driving Home for Christmas, and it really reminds me of a lovely time in my life, and it reminds me of my parents, my mum and my dad. So my dad died when I was 25, so he was very, really too young to lose a parent. But actually, then I told my mum about this chart. I showed it to mum, and she just said, "Oh, Home for Christmas. Oh, that's a Chris Rea song, isn't it? That was one of your dad's favourite songs." So it again added to the kind of memory for that. So yeah, so I was really, really pleased to have won that. So thank you very much, Michelle, for sending me that. I think that was for either her 10,000 followers or 11,000 followers. And I think she's up to 12,000 followers now. So just incredible, just, and wonderful that, a wonderful Flosstube channel from Michelle. And I don't know how time she finds the time to stitch, to have a full-time job, a young child. Ness, her daughter, is a lot younger than Felicity. I can kind of let Felicity get on and do things when I want to do my own thing. Yeah, so great Flosstube. Thank you, Michelle. So I think I have whizzed through my catch up with you today. I think that's really everything I needed to say. My plans really for the rest of May are just to get a few more finishes done. I've said this before, I'm very much a stitch what you love, and on the day I think, what do I want to stitch today, and I pretty much will stitch on it. My whips at the start of May had got up to 19, not excessive, but I do find, and I think I've got some bigger projects at the moment. I've got some bigger projects, so not many that I'll be able to get done quickly. So I kind of feel a little bit of a need to get some whips done before I do any new starts. I think one of the things, excuse me, one of the things perhaps I find a little bit I get frustrated with is if I want to start something new and I start kitting it up, I've got to pull a thread from another whip. And I do use the floss, use floss drops. So I've probably got 4 of these or 5 of them with 310 on, and I've got 310 in so many different projects. So I can split threads, and I can put half a skein in one and half a skein in the other, but then I don't want to do that too much, because just then my floss, my wall of my copper pipe of floss just gets too much on it. So I do just get a bit, and I do write little notes on each little, so each of my floss rings, apart from that one, has a little thing with what I'm stitching. Is that upside down? With what I'm stitching, so you can see it. And I do quite often write on those, the number at the DMC, or the thread that's in something else, if I'm not, if there's if I'm not stitching on a project that, you know, there's quite a few Christmassy winter ones in my whip pile that I haven't worked on for quite a few months now. So I will move threads out of those and perhaps not replace them. But yeah, I just feel a little bit at the moment that I've just got a little bit too many. So it's good to be finishing off a few things. I've got, you know, there's 2 or 3 that I would like to finish in the next 10 days. So I don't have any other plans than that, to just carry on stitching what I love, try and get a few finishes. But if I don't, and I have quite a few things kitted up. This is my kind of little basket of everything's falling off now. My kind of little basket of charts and things that, you know, I've got fabric in there ready to go, and things that I want to start. But really, I just want to, before I start anything new now, just want to get a few more things done and ticked off, and a few more things a bit further along. So yeah, that's it for now. I will be stitching what I love, and I hope that you will be too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that as now the allotment's getting planted, and I'll be able to leave it to grow on its own a little bit, and keeping in mind I'll have to keep on top of the weeds. I hope that I'll be able to come back in the next couple of weeks and not leave it so long next time. So thank you for listening in. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd be very grateful if you could. It just keeps me going to know that people want to come back and want to listen to me regularly. So if that's you, if you can just give me a little subscribe, just go and press that button, and if you can give me a thumbs up as well, that'd be really great. It kind of helps the YouTube algorithms. Kind of, if people like your video, then YouTube will push it out to more people, and that's how, you know, we can come across and speak to more people and get more people involved in this wonderful community that we're in. So thank you very much, and happy stitching, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.